Hi everyone, this is Frank Demore with the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth, and I'd like to ask you, if you would, to please go to my website, which is www.bibleprophecyman.com. And when you're there, you'll be able to download my documentary on Bible prophecy and current events for free. Today, you could just download it for free, no strings attached. We'll never ask you for anything whatsoever. The Lord showed me a long time ago that everything I was to do was to do it for free. And so please take the opportunity to see what God had warned us about these last days, because everything is happening, and it is evidence that we are definitely in the last days. Now, what I'd like to do today is to focus on the curse of God, because we need to understand when God says something, He really means it. And He's picked the nation Israel for whatever reason, whether you like it or not. God has chosen the nation Israel to demonstrate God's sovereignty over that nation and how God will be protecting the nation of Israel. Now, in Joel chapter 3, where we see there that anybody who divides the land of Israel, we're going to be destroyed. That's what God said. This is in short, but you could read it for yourself by going to Joel chapter 3. And also in Genesis, Genesis tells us in Genesis 12:3, that there's a curse that's going to fall on anyone who curses Israel. And on the flip side, anybody who blesses Israel will be blessed. So if you're a leader of a nation and you want your nation to be blessed, you should be backing up Israel. And if you want to receive a curse, I don't know why anybody would want to, but if that was your desire, then just go against Israel, because you'll see the curse of God fall on your nation as you go against East Jerusalem, as you go against the Jewish people and the nation of Israel. And then again in Zechariah 12:3, there's another warning there that God was going to cut anybody in pieces that comes against Jerusalem, comes against Israel. And we are told in Zechariah 12:3, just in case this is the first time you've come to my site here, that in the last days, all of the nations were going to turn on Israel, and Israel is going to be left alone, and we see that happening as well. And all of this documentation, by the way, you'll find in my book. But so I want to cover and stay in the confines of those three prophecies: Joel chapter 3, Genesis the curse, and also we see the curse being related in Zechariah 12:3, anybody that comes against Jerusalem and the Jewish people. So I want to show you, leading up all the way until what had happened in Japan, where now they upgraded this earthquake to a 9.0 earthquake. There is let me give you a list of different things that have happened to nations when they have policies that go against Israel. Listen to this. On October 30th of 1991, President George Bush opened the Madrid Conference in an initiative for the Middle East peace plan involving Israel's land. On the same day, an extremely rare storm forms off the coast of Nova Scotia. It was eventually tagged the perfect storm. I'm not sure if you remember this, but George Clooney had he was in a movie called The Perfect Storm, and it was about a ship, a fishing vessel that was out in the water when this storm hit. And there's also a book and a movie that were produced about this. It says that the record-setting 100-foot waves form at sea and pound New England coast, even causing a heavily damage to President Bush's home in Kennyport, Maine. Now, this, as they opened up this Madrid conference, these peace conferences that they put together, on October 30th, 1991, Bush started to implement swapping the land and dividing up the land. And on that very same day, you have one of the worst storms the United States has ever seen in its complete history, with waves hitting 100 feet high. All right, this wasn't a coincidence. Again, on August 23rd of 1992, again, they're talking about the Madrid Conference. It says the Madrid Conference moves to Washington, D.C., and peace talks resume, lasting 4 days. On the same day, Hurricane Andrew, the worst natural disaster ever, hit America. Produces an estimate of $30 billion in damage and leaves 180,000 people homeless in Florida on the same day. Now, again, the August 23rd, their peace process for the Madrid that went to Washington had to do with dividing up Israel. Go back to Joel chapter 3. You'll see that the curse is falling on America, because that's what they did. They were trying to establish a Israel broken up. Now here's another one of... Now, on January 16th of 1994, 2 years later, President Clinton, now who's the president, meets with Syria's president Assad in Geneva. They talk about a peace agreement with Israel that includes giving the Golan Heights away. And the Golan Heights is an area of strategic land that Israel won in a previous war. They took it away from the Arabs. And the Golan Heights, Syria wants the West Bank, and there's other nations that want all this land returned back to the people that Israel took it away from when they were in the wars. So the President Clinton is sitting down with Assad from Syria, negotiating, giving away this land that Israel has. It's their land. It says they talk about peace agreement with Israel that includes giving the Golan Heights. Less than 24 hours later, a powerful 6.9 earthquake rocks Southern California. The quake, centered in Northridge, is the second most destructive natural disaster that hit the United States, behind Hurricane Andrew, which is, again, which you just covered, a case that they're trying to give and separate Israel. So that's another one. Then again, on March 1st of April 1997, the combination of PLO chairman Yasser Arafat touring America and Clinton rebuking Israel for not giving away her land for peace coincide with some of the worst tornadoes and flooding in U.S. history. On the very day Arafat lands in America, powerful tornadoes devastate huge sections of the nation, ripping across Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kentucky, Tennessee. Arafat's American tour also coincides with the storms in the Dakotas, which result in the worst flooding of the century. In addition to weeks of major storms throughout the Midwest, Arafat finishes his tour and leaves the U.S., and the storms stop. So you may think that these things, these events, are a coincidence, but they're not a coincidence at all, and there's more. In January 21st of 1998, Netanyahu again meeting up with President Clinton at the White House, and he is coldly received. The president, or the prime minister of Israel, goes in to a meeting, supposedly meeting with President Clinton. Now, Clinton and his Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, refuse to have lunch with the Prime Minister of Israel. He comes all the way over, then they scuff him. Shortly afterwards that day, the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke in a mass media and began to occupy a major portion of Clinton's time. So on that very day where the president or the Prime Minister of Israel shows up, supposed to be meeting with him, the president pushes him aside, and that very day, Lewinsky's scandal broke off. And we all know that President Clinton almost got impeached because of it. And so you can't mess around with the Lord's chosen people. Now, there's a lot of people, again, who will not like to receive that message, thinking that the Jews are the responsible for all the bad that's going on. And there's really nothing that I can say that will change some of your minds. But if you want to get along with God, and you want to be a faithful servant of the Lord, for whatever reason, He chose Israel. And if you want to be blessed, whether you like it or not, then you need to support Israel. On September 27th and 28th, 1998, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright works on the final details of an agreement in which Israel will give up 13% of Yusha. The same day, Hurricane George slams into the Gulf Coast with 110 miles per hour winds and gusts of up to 175 miles per hour. The hurricane hits the coast and stalls. On September 28th, Clinton meets with Arafat and Netanyahu at the White House to finalize the land deal. Later, Arafat addresses the United Nations about declaring an independent Palestinian state by May 1999, while Hurricane George pounds the Gulf Coast, causing $1 billion in damage. At the exact time Arafat departs from the U.S., the storm begins to dissipate. Again, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all. October 15th through the 22nd of 1998. October 15th, 1998, Yasser Arafat and Benjamin Netanyahu meet at the Rhine River Plantation in Maryland to continue the talks, which ended on September 28th. The talks are scheduled to last 5 days, with the focus on Israel giving up 13% of Yusha. The talks are extended and conclude on October 23rd. On October 17th, awesome rains and tornadoes hit southern Texas, the San Antonio area, and deluged 20 inches of rain in one day. The rains and floods in Texas continue until October 22nd and then subside. The floods ravage 25% of Texas and leave over $1 billion in damage. On October 21st, Clinton declares this section of Texas a major disaster area. So again, within that week that they're trying to give away land, we see massive destructions taking place someplace in the United States on those very days. So I'm going to continue on the next video, video number 2, and give you more dates, more occurrences, and believe me, if this doesn't open your eyes and to start looking for people who are cursing Israel, I don't know what will.